benefit of listening to what Chris Thairu has said, and therefore I'm not in a position to either confirm or confute it. However, I think it is not exactly correct for a sitting member of parliament to state that NASA is dead, because NASA is an entity that is registered with the Office of Registrar of Political Parties. It's also a coalition that is recognized by the speakers of both the Senate and the National Assembly, and therefore you cannot quite proclaim its death without it having been formally dissolved. That said and done, I think it's true that NASA is dysfunctional, that the alliance as a political formation that brings together a number of political parties that are supposed to be working together for a common cause is not working that way. So I think the more accurate way of putting it is stating that NASA is dysfunctional. And if you look at it from the vantage point of funds and funding, one may want to wonder what the funds that have been going to the NASA Secretariat have been doing. As I sit here now at the ANC headquarters, I have no idea what exactly has been contributed to the NASA Secretariat this far and what use it has been put to, nor do I have any idea about any other amounts of monies that have been contributed to NASA, to the NASA kitty, by way of the pay bill number, for example, that we issued last year in the lead up to the repeat presidential election, which we did not participate in. Members of parliament were also supposed to contribute to that kitty. We have no idea, and so maybe it's just as well that they have decided that these monies should no longer be remitted to their secretariat if it still exists, but that it should instead be channeled to the individual political parties.
You're saying that NASA is not dead, contrary to what a section of members of parliament are saying. So what is the fate of the NASA coalition now that it's being starved of funds? And this is despite the coalition agreement that members of parliament affiliated to the NASA coalition rather expected to contribute 10,000 shillings.
Funds have objectives. The raising of funds in any arrangement is not an end in itself. Funds are contributed to specific baskets so that they can perform specific roles. If you look at the alliance or the coalition for that matter, you will see that the last time that the principals met was on the 11th day of March this year. That was when the principals sat together in a formal context to deliberate on issues NASA. Any other meetings that have taken place have been informal and therefore lacking the necessary force of law and possibility of enforcement. And so we can talk about the coalition being starved of funds, as Chris Thairu seems to be putting it, but one may very well want to ask funds so that they are doing what? And therefore, as is the habit in this country, a bad habit of course, it is possible for a coalition to stagger on through the season of the life of a specific parliament. We saw it with the 9th Parliament. We had the National Rainbow Coalition, which fell apart quite early in the day. And for a period of 4 years, it staggered on because nobody was bold enough to seek its formal dissolution. And so members sat in Parliament for 5 years under knock, and the same can happen, that people will be there for the remaining season of this Parliament, and in principle being called NASA MPs. In practice, there being no NASA representation as such. The NASA parliamentary group, for example, hasn't sat since sometime last year.
All right, let's now talk about accountability when it comes to the usage of funds that are being channeled to the NASA coalition. And ANC party, not only ANC party, but also the Wiper party, has raised concern on how money being channeled to the NASA coalition account is being used. And then secondly, once you answer that question, kindly talk to us about the letter that minority leader at the National Assembly, that is John Bade, wrote to the clerk of the National Assembly, asking him to stop channeling funds of the party members to the NASA coalition. Yet in that letter, we are also seeing that Musalia Mudavadi, ANC party leader, who's the founder of the NASA party, has not been copied in that letter.
Let me start from the letter and then I'll go back to the use. There's a clear indication here that there is arrogance, there is intransigence. There are fellows who are drunk with power of office, and who act as if they are 15th century imperial monarchs somewhere in medieval Europe, that they will even change the leadership of the NASA alliance in the various assemblies without bothering to consult the leaders of the other parties. Obviously, they consult the leader of ODM, for they cannot do anything without consulting him. They would know that that would be the end of their political careers, but they cannot even extend courtesy to the other parties, to even copy a letter such as that one to our party leader. They behave as if that is inconsequential. And so within that intransigence, there comes the element of lack of accountability. How much money, even now, as you are saying, stop remitting funds to the NASA secretariat, how much money has gone into that kitty this far? To what use has that money been put between March this year and today, the 21st day of November 2018? And these are not things that somebody is going to wish away, because these are public funds. And being public funds, we are going to certainly be asking for an audit. We are going to be asking for accountability. So it's not the sort of thing that you just wish away by surreptitiously doing letters and peremptorily passing them around to a few people whom you think are notable enough to be shared this kind of correspondence with, and forgetting about the rest of us. We are going to be calling for accountability. Finally, it's little things like these ones which tell what kind of leadership some of the people who have aspired to the topmost offices in this land would provide. If you cannot be trusted with small things, such as being accountable with political coalition party funds, how are we going to trust you with bigger things like the national treasury?
All right. Now let's talk about your party leader, Musalia Mudavadi. What is he up to next, right now as we speak? What is he up to right now as we speak? Because he's not been copied in that letter that John Bade wrote to the clerk of the National Assembly. We're also seeing his core principals being given continental jobs.
We are not interested in continental jobs or any other jobs in government. I think we have been very categorical about that, and we want to be extremely categorical about it. In August last year, we fielded a candidate for the presidential election together with a running mate. We were extremely selfless. You can see that of all the four principals of NASA, it was only Honorable Musalia Mudavadi who did not run for anything. In other words, office and rank is not a primary concern for Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. He places this country first. That is why he accepted in June last year that Raila Odinga was going to be the NASA presidential flag bearer. Kalonzo Musyoka was going to be the running mate. And of course, Moses Wetangula ran for Senate in Bungoma. Musalia Mudavadi did not run for anything. He's not that thirsty about office, about power. When he has been involved with politics, it has been about this country. And so let those who are seeking office continue to seek office. They may be appointed to big office or to small office. What we have before us is the task of consolidating our party and preparing our party for the next checkpoint, which is going to be in 2022. And at that time, we will see who else is available and willing to work with us.
Right.
The role that the political opposition plays in any country is very important, and it would be very dangerous for us to allow ourselves to be massively swallowed into a little space that then becomes a de facto one-party dispensation in this country. ANC is going to be very firm about that.
All right. Thank you so much, Barack Muluka, ANC Party Secretary General, talking to us about that cash wars that is currently happening in NASA. ODM Party, Wiper Party, and Wiper Party have decided to withdraw their members' contribution to the NASA coalition. We'll wait and see how that plays out at the end of the day, taking us to another commercial break here on KTN News Center. But when we come back, we shall be heading to the Supreme Court